So Kixel pushes more code. First is team to team and Atnell Schole, Connor to Consus Con Pangini, Peggy the Fiki. Oh, my Grisa was a solar while I share was solar. That my everyday life to chicken, so quickly I could teach me of God. Yeah, man. Fight a bullet.
Oh, good morning.
Welcome to another episode of The Dissection. DJ Waris Stock, has died at the age of 40.
Good morning. Right, let's bow our heads and say for DJ once. Moment, silence. Sad news don't seem to come to an end. Good morning to you too. This is Bani Cafe Podcast, and this is Bani Katondo, your host. Today in the morning when I was scrolling on my phone, I came across very saddening news. One of our own, well known, someone who's been hustling out there, having his own private security company that has been operating and also working together with the government, helping the government uh, evict people who then hijacked people's buildings in Johannesburg because that's where the company is based. So now what happened is very tragic and bad news that we had in this morning as we waking up that DJ Warriors has died. We know him. He's been. I think he also has one of his podcasts, and he's been showing up with some of the podcasts that we know in So he also will be co-host or host or TV host on behalf of Omeji when he was absent on his platform or podcast. So he was there with Sol some couple of times. I don't think he went there once. I think he did go there twice, not many times. And then he also did go there as a guest as well. Um, I don't know much about him. I don't wanna lie, honestly speaking. But back in the day, when the times of YFM was hard. I don't know about now, but back in the day, probably it was because I was still in Johannesburg as well. But back in the day, what you call um, who YFM was kind of sorry about that. YFM was kind of was kind of hot back in the day, back during that time. So I think DJ Waters was part of that as well. I don't know, probably, and I don't know if he still work at 5 or something like that. But the guy is well known, man. And now what I've heard ever since I came across him on this podcast platforms, what I actually heard personally is that he also owns a private security company that takes care of citizens by actually securing tenders from the government to actually protect and take back some of the buildings that belongs not to the government but to other citizens who find themselves having being in this position whereby they're getting their property like getting a lot of people occupying your property without your consent This is happening throughout South Africa. I don't know why this is happening. It happens to land. It happens to like property. J here in South Africa is just another game in another level. It's on another level. So this is also a dangerous game, mind you, because these things are done by syndicates. They're not done by one people. There are people who then saw that there's a lot of money in these buildings that are abandoned. They're not abandoned sometimes. Sometimes they just hijack them from the owners. And then sometimes things go south. Police get to be involved. Ordinary citizens get to suffer. Those who are in need of a place get to, the residents get to suffer as well. And sometimes, they suffer in many different ways because they get to migrate to these urban areas looking for opportunities, because there aren't much opportunities from a lot of places. The bigger chunk of South Africa is made out of the coastal provinces, right? And yet the coastal provinces is also made out of a lot of villages. And these villages are not doing quite well here in South Africa. Yes, these villages do have their own cities, but these cities don't have a lot of industrial areas whereby they can hire a lot of people. But it then happens that few places or few provinces here in South Africa do offer a lot of jobs to the public. So it happens that these people from the coastal, who are largely residents of villages, who stay in the villages because of the lack of opportunities, they then migrate to these cities. And then when they get there, mind you, the cities that they migrate into, they are smaller than the places where they coming from. So, and in these cities, there are places and areas that are designated for certain reasons. They are zoned. There are residence places, there are places for industrial, there are places for retail. And what happens is these people get to look for places, and the residential places or area gets to be expensive because they don't want anyone to go there. They don't want these places to be flooded. And mind you, the informal settlements are illegal, and hence the word informal settlement. Now, what happens is they then form these shanty towns out of nowhere just because they want to be closer to work. Mind you, when you're looking for a job, we have to produce what is called a proof of residence. But I don't know how it works, but all of this is also being fueled by what is called the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is a foreign document that came that was crafted during I think the slavery time or just after the slavery period or the slave period. So during that time of the colonial period, this Bill of Rights was formed to then give humans rights. I believe that we are born with the rights, so just have we don't have to be told that we have a right to do this and do that. But then now again, because of this Bill of Rights, right? So everyone has a right to shelter, right? We all know this. We all know this by nature. For you to survive, you need to have a shelter as a human being. So you are bound to find a way. But because we are human beings, we then have systems, right? Ways whereby we don't want chaos. We want people to be in places with others that they are related to, or friends, family, to their dear relatives. This then created the situation whereby we will be having homelands, right? So from homelands to villages, towns, But what happens when these people migrate to these big cities looking for jobs, and yet these big cities, every place is being occupied, but you might find that there are few lands that are not being occupied, but probably it's been kept for investment. You know what I mean? Somebody wants to do something with the land, or probably wants to sell the land after accumulating a lot of money as it depreciates. I mean, it appreciates the daily, as you know, the land does that. So people might just go there and use the EFF um, campaign slogan that says, occupy the land that you see, and you see it fit for you to occupy, and it's going to be a good place for you to stay around. And mind you, whenever there's a residential place that is being developed from nothing, there are a couple of things that need to be put in place before the people occupies that particular area. Things such as sanitary, roads, electricity, utility, amenities, sometimes schools and clinics. But because EFF is not serving the interest of the masses, but it's wearing a mask. I know fighters, you are going to fight me for this, but this is in the clear. EFF, first and foremost, it is a GNU on its own, right? It does not value a certain group's um, struggles, and we know which group am I talking about, but rather it is that inclusive political party, which is a good thing. That's what we want in South Africa. This is the democratic party, and this again includes the Bill of Rights again, because they fall under that as well when they are formulating their policies and their principles, their ideologies. They are shaped in, inside the perimeters of the Bill of Rights. They just cannot say anything or try to insinuate anything that is outside the Bill of Rights. Therefore, they are also being directed by that foreign rather. So yeah, I think most of you guys already get my point by highlighting that fact. Now, people migrating to big cities, urbanization, it's called, because they are looking for jobs, right? You know what's going to happen? Who's going to gain here? As much as these people are going to suffer, but because psychologically they have this mentality that they are going to at least make some money, which they will never really save, because that money is going to be like their support for their daily needs. Now, it comes and goes, like there's no room for savings. They just have to pay for the place, pay for transport, pay for food, pay for that. So that money is no money. It's like no money. Yes, it is money, but it's no money. Now, mind you, me, I have a kind of like first-hand experience for what I'm talking about. That a lot of people are moving from the villages, the East, the Cape, your KwaZulu Natal, your to these bigger cities. I read a book that also preaches this. A very old book. Cry, My Beloved Country, something like that, by Ellen who so and so. Is Kumalo there is the main character, Reverend Kumalo. So yeah, he's also going to Johannesburg with his son who then migrated to Joburg and the Lahab. Now, when there's a lot of people, an influx of population, into a limited area, a place whereby it's limited when it comes to accommodating people. Now these people will find these lands and occupy them illegally. Sometimes when the land is already been occupied, they will then go to the cities and find buildings that whose owners are no longer there, and probably it is not well managed by a property agency or whoever was left there to manage the building. And then, or the building gets hijacked by someone who comes in and asks for to rent the place to lease, and then you sign a lease agreement. All of a sudden, boom, the person takes over your place. Sometimes you know how this happens because the landlord tends to be lazy to craft. I also know this personally. They tend to be lazy to craft a lease agreement. Now they will then make the leasee or the, I don't know, is it the leasee, right? Yeah, the one who's leasing, who will pay rent to the landowner to make, to craft. Imagine the lease agreement. What would you do when, as a person who's occupying the place, the landlord says, I don't have time to craft or to make a lease agreement, but you rather do it for yourself. And probably you are there for commercial reasons. You want to occupy the place so that you may carry out a business because this building is in what? CBD. And the owner of the business gives you the rights to craft. You get it? So what's gonna happen? I am going to make it favor me, man, to serve my interests. You get it? I can even say after 6 months I'm gonna own the building. Or I can rent it out to other tenants to make money. I can write anything because the landlord won't read the sign. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying most of these buildings that's the situation with them, but these are the scenarios that I just gave out right now. These are the possible things that situations. It may get hijacked. The owner may be overseas, ill managed, and you know. So in the midst of all of this, the ordinary citizen gets to suffer because if they're occupying a land that is empty, the sanitary system won't be there, roads, electricity. There's nothing that is going to be there that serves them as human beings. No water, nothing. But they will suffer, definitely. Okay. Even though they will make means, whoever is around there with all of these things that I've just mentioned right now will suffer too because they will use theirs. Then moving to the buildings that have been hijacked, you know what happens after the building has been hijacked? A room, one room that is meant to be a bedroom or an office becomes a bedroom or becomes a home to 5 people. They will divide it with cat. I've seen this with my own eyes. It's crazy. We've seen this in TV. They portray it too. Damn crazy. So now, a very small office, 2 by 2, or 2.5 by 2.5 office. If it's 3 by 3, that one is huge. But it's a big house. It can accommodate like 2 families, foreigners, people migrated from the villages. It's a mixture of a lot of people. Sanitary becomes a problem as well because now that one toilet, which was meant for a family of four, probably, is now being used by 4 families of 6. That's 24 people. and everyone takes a dump each and every day. They dump it there. And that's just one room, one toilet. And in a building, you get a lot of toilet. I'm telling you, you get clogged. Like they clog, and there will be a stink all over the place, more especially on the ground floor. Maybe the the parking lots. It's a mess. A mess is a mess, just like that. So what happens now? Say, oh, people who get to be now worried about this. I don't know if they were not seeing it prior, but because they want votes now, they're trying to act as if they care. Because some of these people who hijack these buildings, do the politicians become part of their payroll? You know, you'd find them in their payroll, like the people who own these buildings, who have hijacked these buildings, then make a lot of money from these rats, sorry, from these people who then live like rats in these buildings with rats. And then that money they make, which is not taxed, you know, they then pay, right, the officials, the police officials, the politicians for immunity, for protection, for police harassments. They call it harassment, but those are investigations and then shutting down of the building and prosecution and all these things that need to be done for the person to acquire the building legally. Just because they want shortcuts, and sometimes they might not even get the building because they won't even qualify to have it. And there are also these talks of now the politicians themselves too are seeing this as a game because now they want to take these buildings and sell it to their sponsors so that their sponsors can make money out of these buildings. So that is an investment in the building, of course. The value of the building appreciates, but the moment you acquire that building and you're gonna do it and lease it out. The moment you lease it out, you're gonna make a lot of money out of that. So big guns come in now. They want the buildings. They want to take the buildings from these small mafias who are hijacking these buildings from the owners who may have died a long time ago. So now the government will now play a role of taking these buildings and reselling them to a willing buyer. There's no willing seller in this point. They will take all of these buildings if they do find the owner. Obviously, the owner will be willing to sell the building because the building has been hijacked long time ago, and they have been making money out of it. So why would they say no? And sometimes these politicians they can make it a point that they get people such as I don't know the Madlanga Commission hypervibes to hijack these buildings so that they can come to rescue and take the building and resell it. That to get favors from their sponsors, money being kept in the couches so that they can turn a blind eye to what is happening. So in all of this process, the ordinary citizen is suffering, and then guess what? Because they are dismantling the police force, they are now hiring a lot of private security. There's a lot of game happening. There's a lot of money happening there. There's just a lot in that industry on its own, the security industry. I don't know how it is thriving so much in South Africa, whereas we are also having the defense force, the navy, and the police service. All of these, and they are just a lot of private security companies that are popping up from anywhere, and some of these give protection to these politicians. And I don't know how and why. And sometimes people who occupy government positions, they get to be escorted and secured by these security companies. And I don't know who's paying because an ordinary citizen or someone who's working for the government cannot afford that. So where's the money coming from? We don't know. Those are the questions that need to be answered. Now, all of this, right, may in my own interpretation or analysis may have led to the death of this guy here, or DJ Waras. Because this, he's been talking about this, he's been highlighting this, that they do this, been bragging about it, that they do take buildings back to their owners, to their rightful owners. And he broke, he once broke this scenario that I just broke down about the building, the situation of the buildings, whereby a lot of people staying in a building and the building cannot, the capacity of the building cannot accommodate all of these people, and then the masses will suffer. This may be political as well, you know. And he died trying to evacuate people from a certain building as well in Johannesburg CBD. There's just a lot happening in South Africa, man. And then I just have a lot to say about what just happened. But nonetheless, man, I wasn't here to broadcast, but I was just here to talk about us. R.I.P. my brother. R.I.P. Warris. See you on the next part. Yo, good people are dying, bro. Dying young. South Africa is like that, bro. Lately, people are dying. More especially around this time. 2 years back, I don't know, it was DJ somebody. Last year it was DJ somebody, someone I don't know, but it was somebody who was a DJ. And now it is DJ Warris. It's worrying. DJ, you need to be worried. DJs need to be worried as well. Don't mingle around this place. DJ Warris was kind of like Captain America, but he was playing around with a lot of guns too. But that was his life. Yeah, man, this is Bani Daily Life Podcast, and you are listening to Bani Gandondo breaking down my own conspiracy theory about what had happened or what had led to. But all what I've said is backed by, and that all of us know, cannot deny.
I track everything I want when it comes back. Go to stack pack every move I make. Impact, yeah. Case closed. Every killer season.
Oh, morning rise. This is Bunny Daily Faith Podcast. We used to call it Bunny Daily Live Podcast, but we are no longer daily, but we are alive. Oh yeah, please do subscribe, follow, like, share, comment. What do you think about South Africa and Ghana?
Barbecue season.
Yeah, it's that season.
Step in the game.
And they freeze like ice.
Pink mink dragon.
When I roll them dice,
Queen pin move.
I don't check that price. If I want it, I get it. Yeah, I live that life.
Flow too mean.
Got a sense of my tone. I break new ground when I sit on my throne. You chase little likes. I'm a worldwide zone. Got them dialing my style like a payphone phone. Ooh, I'm petty when I wanna be. Crown too heavy, need a policy. Rap so sick, it's a medical oddity. Bars hit hard like a courtroom robbery. Barley killer season. Every bar I drop got a reason. Talk slick, get even. I don't need help, I'm the big barbecue the season. Got the whole world pledging allegiance. Big crown, no treason. I'm the queen, better speak
Switch flow, now I'm turning up the pressure. Bad girl moves, but the class still fresher.
Oh, yeah. We've come to an end of our show. Thank you for watching. And please do tune in next time. Showing up. Probably today or the next other day. I don't know. See you next time. Ciao. Bye.